Hey all, it's David Ducker coming back at you. And today, I'm going to be talking about skill-based potions. That is, potions, or any magic, spells, miracles, magic items that change, whether that's improve or eliminate your character's skills and how that affects role-playing. I was talking to a gentleman who's coming into one of my one-shots that I'm running through the OSG here on Google Hangouts. And he said he wanted to be an assassin. They're going on a diplomatic mission. And he said, well, I want to be an assassin disguised as an ambassador. And I'm going to come in, and when we're talking to the orc war boss, I'm going to gank him in the neck and kill him. And I said, that's awesome. And someone else who was listening in said, well, doesn't that make him the new war boss because he killed the old war boss? And I said, not unless he's an orc. And the player said, well, what if I am an orc? And I pull off like my face and reveal I've been an orc the whole time. And the other person listening in said, well, now that doesn't make any sense at all. Orcs are too dumb. You can never disguise yourself. And, I came back with, what if he's got like a medallion of intelligence, what is it, Fox's cunning, the medallion of Fox's cunning, for his disguise only, and he doesn't really have the intelligence, but it can be magically appropriated for an amount of time. The PCs are like, they're like asking him like, but how could this be? Like, you seem so intelligent. He's like, me trick you, me no dumb, me no smart, me dumb, ha ha ha, and he laughs at them. Yeah, and they're like, that doesn't make any sense. You were talking about like the geopolitics of the world and the economics, and he's like, Ugh, no, what Ugg talk about? Ugg have medallion, and he just reveals his disguise to them. And that's a really interesting way to use a magic item. The player may or may not do this. It's just a one-shot, so you can be a little wackier with it. But it did remind me of a time in our game, in Legends of the Seven Sands, the campaign-length version, where there's the Tower of the Archmagi, and each school of magic has their Archmagi, and then they're led by, not the Grand Wizard, that's a different thing, but they were led by, let's say a Hierophant, a really powerful wizard who's elected by the other 8. And during the course of the campaign, the Hierophant was killed, and there was an election being held. One of the players had managed to get himself elected as an Archmage, so he had a vote. And he had a lot of sway with the other voters, with the other Archmagi. So both of the main candidates asked him for their support. And they were both, one was more charming and eloquent and seemed to have really good ideas. The other one was like really solid. She was a conjurer, but she was from like a northern nation, and she was very, she was kind of a brute. Like she had magic, but she was really straightforward. She didn't politic. She called it right like she saw it. So the players ended up casting his vote for the charismatic individual, and then that individual, they quickly realized, is completely insane, and he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's trying to do really weird things with his power. And the player, came to me, he's like, Dave, you were playing this character one way, and now you're playing him another. Like, did you mess up as a GM? Are you confused? And I was like, no. You should investigate that in character. Your character would be very concerned about this change in his demeanor. And investigating him, he thought, is he possessed by a demon? Has he been switched out for a doppelganger? And then he found out that he'd been dosing himself with potions of eagle splendor, and he had all the charisma oozing off of him, but it was magical charisma. He didn't actually have any of that. He was a totally different person. Well, not totally different, but in the way he conducted himself, he was very different. So, you can use your statistics as a tool of characterization, as a role-playing tool as well. If something on your sheet changes, your charisma, your intelligence, your wisdom, your cunning, your empathy, whatever it is in your rule set. You need to reflect that in your role playing. Do you role play him a little smarter, a little dumber, a little more charming, a little less charming, whatever it is? You got to reflect that. Your physical stats don't really affect your role playing as much. They'll affect your descriptions, like in combat or when he's moving around. That'll change based on those stats. But mentally, the mental stats affect your role playing. And that's what I'm talking about. Items and spells that affect those. Now, a character can intentionally dose himself or others. I'm slipping the potion of Eagle Splendor into my wife's drink every night. So we have fewer disagreements that way. Or for a big banquet, I'm going to dose her with this potion. Maybe someone else thinks you're poisoning her, but really you're trying to help her, kind of. And that can be really interesting as a storyline. I don't generally like high magic or high magic storylines, but this is one that I find really intriguing. So I just wanted to share that with you and share those anecdotes with you. Let me know if you've seen these magic items done well or poorly when they affect the role playing, because I'd love to hear about that in the comments below. And until I see you again, have a good day and a good game.